Look like we should be live. It looked like it. What's up, y'all? It is almost 12, but the mixtape is out. Dark Star Road, second mixtape. I had a mixtape 3 months ago called From This Point Forward, and this new mixtape is kind of similar, but a little different, which is called Dark Star Road. And I don't know where to start. Let me put my headphones in. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I want to put my headphones in. So that way I know y'all really can hear me. Actually, it's not. All right. Dark Star Road, was a concept that I was really trying to think of for a minute to kind of describe the feeling that I was feeling in the current mood. I didn't want to just come up with a mixtape concept that didn't describe what I was feeling. And so I know that I had, some unreleased songs I really want to put out. And but it had to all have to be sonically connected. And so I was thinking of just how I was feeling, what I was feeling, and will it make sense? Let me create something. Give me 1 second. Damn it, I gotta send something to my phone. To my laptop. 1 second. It's really tacky, but we gotta do what we gotta do. There you go. Let me do something really quick, because I really want the concept to really get there. Let me make sure this live stream is on first. Because I don't like not being live. Okay, there we go. All right, we're live. So getting back to the point I was trying to make, I felt a lot. When I think of myself as an artist, I think of who I am, what I'm doing, and where I'm at in my life. And to me, like, I don't think I am a artist that is like the typical just person that just like has the trajectory of how everybody else usually they start at somewhat of a younger age. They was always connected, going places, doing all these things, and that wasn't my journey. I didn't know what I wanted to do for a long time, and it just wasn't typical. So usually people that consider themselves stars, or just people that just feel very confident who they are, they traditionally shine. They call themselves stars and they shine. And I think of myself as a dark star where I am not an artist that shines like everybody else do. I shine, but I shine differently. And I think that's just my trajectory of, like, I was never given anything. Everything I've earned. I never, you know, like, I made a way. Like, when it starts with my music videos, I try to have somebody help me do these things um, you know, while I was trying to reach next level. I didn't get the help, so I had to learn how to do direct and edit my own music videos. Um, try to have people manage me, didn't work, you know, and just each and everything, like, through it all, I stay resilient. I'm practically 4 or 5 years, of just, going at it. It really started December 2020, where I called up somebody that I knew, told them that I wanted to do this, and I felt like I felt rejuvenated. And from December, I learned how to just do all these things. And I'm not gonna just go all the way back, but this is where I'm at in my life. Like, right now, I'm very, um, I wouldn't say dark place, but I'm in just this, how they talk about how a lot of people, when they're reaching new levels, they're like, man, I was on this lonely, this dark, lonely road, and that was gonna be the initial, but I don't feel lonely. Um, so that's why I had to change it, and I changed it to star because that's what I see myself as. Like, that's just who Josh Chapman is. Is that's for the longest I didn't know how I wanted to be, or I didn't know how I wanted to, like, reach and brand myself, like. And I think it is a level of just this unrated underdog mentality of, like, I'm not always going to be given anything. I'm not always going to, everything that I have to get now, I have to I have to earn it. Just like when I was making music for the longest, I was making music in hopes of, one day getting signed to a record label and all these, you know, frivolous things and all these other stuff. And, I reached a point where it's like, okay, it seems like, you know, nobody wants to sign me. That's okay. I got to sign myself. And so I ended up creating my own record label, you know, and once I started doing just those little things, I started understanding who I am. Um, and I started seeing things from a different lens as not only an artist, but just like, if I was to be a record label executive, how would I prioritize myself or just prioritize the artist? And so it's like I'm wearing so many hats, and um, it's really starting to show. And that's why it's like, um, I see so much for myself, and I see so much potential for myself. And I'm just where I'm at. I'm right where I need to be, and I'm happy where I need to be. It's not a jealous. It's not an envious. It's not a I'm mad at the world. Like, but it's like a level of focus that I need to be at. And I'm glad that I'm at this level. Because not everybody's gonna give you everything. Not everybody's gonna give you opportunity. Um, they're surely not gonna, you know, just give you this runway for you to succeed. Like, there's barriers. And I think also, like, in terms of like a dark star, is like you're not gonna be like every other artist. Like, and I think that's just my road. I just think that's just my road of in my reality, and that I'm gonna not only be an artist, but I'm gonna do it in the most creative, different, you know, and it's gonna, like I say, jump into other ventures. And I feel like people get boxed in so easily, when you're seen as just simply an artist. Like, certain people don't think you're capable of doing anything else, and so, I think this is just a stepping stone. Like, I love to create music. I love to make music. Like, you know, it's not like it's like, man, it's like you want to be all these things or you want to do all these things, but you have to start somewhere, and music is always going to be my foundation. Like, it starts here, and whatever else I want to venture into, it has to naturally, sink into everything that I'm doing. And so finding those pieces, finding those little small things is just all speaking to where I'm at in my life and what I'm trying to create. And these are the things that are coming together. And okay, this is Josh Chapman. This is where I'm at in my life. And it starts with just the intro song is Guiding Star. So it's like, to me, I just see like there's always like I'm always into just the cosmos of the world and just the space and all these other things. And I just see when things align. Like, I'm just not a person that just looks at just small things. I really am very like analytical, like, and I just like to just not only just I just like to just analyze my trajectory and the small things. And once I keep growing, everything is going to keep growing. Once I keep seeing more in myself, everything's going to keep growing. And I'm just so happy. A lot of people obviously are going to count me out. Um, and I love it. I love the journey. I love the challenge, because that's who Josh Chapman is. It's just a person that embraces challenge and embraces just everything. My glass is starting to irritate me. So it's this stuff. It's right now. Um, all of these things are creating a way for itself to allow myself to be something special. It's going to allow myself to always create. It's going to always allow myself to just always be myself authentically. And I don't know, like, um, this mixtape has been just like a lot of these are pieces are just things that I've had, recorded, and it just all came organically. Like, I'm turning a new age in June, July 2nd. You know, um, I don't see 30, or when people like, oh, reaching these ages, and like I'm just such a creative, futuristic thinker that Like, I am not boxed in by a time limit, you know? I'm not boxed in by, oh, I gotta be, you know, success before this age now. I want to really be able to create things. I don't want to just lollygag anything that the opportunity, whatever presents itself. I want to take advantage. You know, I'm not going to just passively go through. Like, I'm always day and night thinking about what's the next step, you know. And when you're doing it by yourself, it even makes it even more harder. So it's like, um, it's building, man. You know, it's the small things. All these things will align eventually, and I'm just happy that I'm just giving myself a chance, and um, it's just the small things that's just gonna allow myself to get to the next level, and I'm just so happy, man. I'm so happy, and allowing myself um the space. So like, I'm letting all of these songs go. Like I really want to start at ground zero when I turn a new age. I don't want any previous songs. I don't want any, you know, um, just songs that I already have. Like, I want all of them. All the songs that I actually like, I want them just gone, and like turning a new leaf. Like, so that way I can be happy and I can really like, okay, we gonna really start really going in a new direction. So, you know, sometimes you just gotta unload things, and I'm not saying this is like that, but I wanted something to describe, and just such a like for me, like, it's just like when I think of Dark Star Road, and the songs that I've put together, like, it just describes just the atmosphere, you know, the sonic atmosphere of like, just, you know, obviously like a late night just drive, you know, even though you can hear and listen to it during the day, like, but it really just grabs you at nighttime, you know, and it just allows you to imagine, and allows you to just go, you know, into different just worlds mentally, and just allow you to just travel, you know, mentally. And so it's like, that was my intent behind Dark Star Road, you know. And I just think so much of what I can do, the potential of what I'm creating, and I'm just so excited about where I'm at in my life, you know, reaching a new age, you know, closing a decade of my 20s, and I'm not typical, you know, my life isn't typical. It's not gonna be like, oh, he was the guy that started. Like, everybody's not Michael Jackson, you know, where you start at 10 years old, and you know, you're performing and doing all these just artistry till you're 50. Like, I don't have that path, unfortunately. Like, that's not my path, so I can only um be happy with the path that I'm on, and you know, I'm just enjoying that, you know. Um just trying to keep myself as youthful as possible, and enjoy the small moments, and stay young. I don't like, you know, I think that's why, like, mentally, I feel like I'm just in just such a different realm, like, because like, you know, I always try and keep myself as thoughtful, as youthful as possible, drinking my water, you know, watching cartoons, you know, laughing, you know, listening to meditation music, like, working on my inner, you know. And that's what I encourage anybody that listens to this, like, work on your inner wealth, you know. We always try and do all these push-ups and lifting, and we try and create this physique, you know, but there's no inner work. You're not doing any meditation. You're not, you know, lowering um your stress levels. Like those are the most important things when you're lowering your blood pressure. And you know you can lose weight and you can cut and get all six pack, but those are just external things. Those aren't necessarily like actually, obviously you're working on your muscles and internally, but are you working on those things that's keeping your mind psychologically right? Are you drinking your water? Are you just exercising those internal things? Are you meditating so you reach a level of clarity psychologically? Like those are the most important things to me, and I think that's what keeps me young as possible. Obviously, like I think this next year I'm really going to prioritize just everything health, and just still just stay on top of my music. And you know I don't know how to feel. I think the closer I get to July 2nd, is it makes it feel more real, but just also just turning a new page, and accepting a lot of things, accepting that this path is going to take time, accepting that everything isn't just cut out to just immediately succeed. So it's the patient factor that I'm constantly working on, and just being myself. So but we getting closer. We're definitely getting closer, and I know I'm gonna get there. So I'm happy, and I appreciate those that do take the time to listen to this mixtape. You know, Obviously it wasn't an easy road. Um, a lot of these songs were just very personal. And I'll say this too. The Reminder of My Regrets song, um, dedicated to my brother that passed, Jared. Um, and it just, you know, it just speaks to where I'm at. Um, and my brother passed at 29, and I'm 29 right now, and I knew I wanted to release this song at 29 because it's like I don't want to leave something. Like I wanted to like leave everything and leave my 20s gracefully, you know? And I think that song speaks a lot. Um, and I wanted to just really make it a ode to my brother, and, just my other brother, just us, just all three of us, just being together, and, it's just a special song. And, it's just, that's how I want to create, I want to move positively in my 30s. And, you know, 29 was, like I said, it's, you know, a tough year, but you got to move gracefully. And I think I did. And it's just where I'm at right now, very isolated, very focused. Because when you're on the dark road, you look to your left and right, and nobody's there except you and God. And there is light, even though like I got this thunder, but I know that there's light at the end of this dark road. And I know that as long as I stay focused, as long as I believe myself, everything will all align exactly how I want it. So, but I appreciate y'all for taking the time to even watch and listen and see what I'm thinking. And hope y'all enjoy. Peace.